on.
Real talk. Let's talk money. It's very interesting. At the weekend, the Trump organization how to get together where they raised, so they say, almost 50 million. People had to pay $250,000 for the privilege of being in the same room as diaper dog.
You know what we did, the largest tax cuts in history. Think of it.
Weirdly, this J.D. Vance.
I was looking forward for years to have graduation with his mother and father there, and it looks like the judges are going to allow me to escape this scam. It's a scam trial. If you read all of the legal pundits, all of the legal scholars today, there's not one that I see that said this is a case that should be brought or tried. It's a scam. It's a political witch hunt.
I'm kind of amazed about something. Where was all the Trump MAGAs? Where were all the truck drivers who a while back were going to shut the whole place down on behalf of Trump? Where were they? Lawrence at MSNBC perfectly sums it up. And talking of, oh, by the way, one other person, where's Melania? Seriously, if they do these presidential discussions, can they get Trump to do a cognitive test live? How should we start? Just get him to spell felon.
They put him into the state of New York and then ultimately into the DA's office to run the case. This is being run by Biden. They put a man in to the state, Letitia Jones, Peekaboo, I call her, Peekaboo. They put a man into that one to Letitia. They put a man into that one to run it, and then he...
I can't say this straight. What's to advertise on OAN?
That's my call to action to you personally, Marjorie. Can we count on you?
Oh, yes, of course, Dan. You can always count on me. Unfortunately, I don't chair a committee, but you have my full support. And if one of our committees will actually take that up, and I think we should, it should be one of the most important things we do, protecting the free speech of Americans like yourself and protecting free press, which is from you. Yes, of course, you have my support. You always.
The Trumps are having a bit of a day. There's Eric being ignored by everybody, so he's now resorted to showing off his, it's a collection of medals. No idea what he won them for. Being the best Gary Busey Jr. lookalike, maybe. I should point out, by the way, in a surprise to no one, like nobody, Trump's lawyers are a bit of a problem with Trump's lawyers. I'm holding my head in shock and surprise. Trump falling out with a lawyer. How does that happen? I mean, the weirdest thing is, Michael Cohen, you would have thought they would have learned from him. And there's Rudy Giuliani, and who in their right mind literally takes her CV, gets a flame, and just sets fire to it, also known as representing former guy.
Let me dive back into the courtroom. They are right now arguing over Donald Trump's team's failure to produce reciprocal discovery under New York law. The prosecution is arguing that they need those documents. They need that material. They keep asking for it, and the prosecution or the defense has not given it over. The defense is saying, we've got so much documentation to go through ourselves. We don't have the manpower to do it that quickly. Merchan has ruled that the defense has 24 hours to hand this material over to the prosecution. And this is where it gets interesting. Donald Trump is now personally getting involved here. He's pushing Todd Blanche's lawyer to fight harder about these documents and this compliance, saying that they need more time. What do you make of Donald Trump getting into this, Catherine? Like getting up and telling getting into his lawyer's face and telling him that he needs to fight harder?
It's going to be a long trial for Mr. Blanche and Ms. Nicholas because he is out of control. He's one of those clients that you hope to not have, because if he's acting this way now, he's going to do it throughout the trial. In terms of the reciprocal discovery, prosecutors really have more of the burden in New York. The defense are supposed to also turn things over, but the consequences for them not doing it are not as severe as it is for prosecutors. So this will not be a major issue.
Donald Trump has been more active with the defense team, his lawyers, since they've been back from lunch, according to our reporters who are watching, chatting with both Blanche and Bove, another one of his lawyers. Our reporters have not seen him getting into such lengthy conversation with his attorneys like this so far today. Mershon is now talking about waiting for the jurors. Well, we wait for the jurors. And then he's going on to discuss something else. So it seems like we are still waiting, ladies and gentlemen.
There's also I was going to say, there's also in New York, there's something called the Sandoval hearing. And that's always done before jury selection. And what that means is...
I'm sorry, I think of Tom Sandoval. Are we getting into Scandoval here in New York?
It's People v. Sandoval. So when prosecutors are going to cross-examine the defendant, assuming this defendant is going to testify, before jury selection, they have to let the defense and the court know what prior bad acts they intend to cross-examine the defendant about. And then the judge does a hearing and says, you can cross about this, you can cross-examine about that, but you can't cross-examine about those things. So that hearing is typically done before jury selection. So they may be doing that now.
It's being discussed now in terms of it, I believe, taking place tomorrow morning. Okay. And that's very significant because it's going to impact, number one, perhaps the order of witnesses that you call, because it's how you lay your case out, as well as the extent to the information that you actually ask about, because you don't want to open the door to certain things. And so this is a very significant thing. Catherine, I'm so glad you brought that up, because it has a real impact in terms of how you plan around this trial.
All right, Vaughn Hilliard, Michael Steele, thank you. Catherine Christian, Charles Coleman, you're going to stay with us much more.
Appreciate some people like to use their children to further whichever particular political narrative they're pushing. Former guy's been caught out using his son Barron. It's not very nice, actually, because it's just a lie.
So thank you very much. We had some amazing things happen today. As you know, my son is graduating from high school, and it looks like the judge will not let me go through the graduation of my son, who's worked very, very hard. He's a great student. He's very proud of the fact that he did so well, and was looking forward for years to have graduation with his mother and father there. And it looks like the judge isn't going to allow me to escape this scam. It's a scam trial. If you read all of the legal pundits, all of the legal scholars today, there's not one that I see that said this is a case that should be brought or tried. It's a scam. It's a political witch hunt.
Just knock on the door. Donald Trump Jr., yes, the doyen of real legal knowledge, is giving his father a few... some advice.
Trying to turn something that at worst, was always looked at as a misdemeanor into a felony. They've changed the statute of limitations.